in terms of the new league year, there's two quarterbacks that we know for sure, it does appear, to be on the market. It'll be Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield. What's your reporting or what you're hearing about those guys and their possibility of finding either new teams or re-signing with their ones? Well,
Rick Stroud, who covers the Tampa Bay Buccaneers very well for the Tampa Bay Times, reported recently that if the Bucs tag anyone, it will be Antoine Winfield Jr., their all-pro safety, not Pro Bowl, but all-pro safety. That means Baker Mayfield heads to the open market unless they work out a contract with him. So he's potentially in play. Kirk Cousins is waiting for something substantial for the Vikings. So I think if accepted the fact they want to see what else someone will do and then maybe try to swoop in and match it or beat it if some other team is willing to do better than the Vikings are. But, you know, Rich, even though we're 3 weeks away from the start of free agency and 19 days away from what we lovingly call the legal tampering window, the real tampering is next week in Indy. The real tampering happens when all of the agents meet all of the teams face to face throughout the course of that 4 or 5 days. And that's when agents find out which of their clients are going to be pursued and how aggressively by other teams. And there are a lot of free agent quarterbacks this year with starting experience. It seems like every year now there are more and more veteran quarterbacks available on that offseason carousel. And I think that will make it harder for the Bears to get a substantial offer for Justin Fields, because if I can go out and try to sign one of these other guys and not give up whatever the Bears are looking for and not have to pay Justin Fields a second contract, and I could get somebody else at a much more reasonable rate and not give up any draft pick compensation, I may try that. But I think it all really starts to push toward a head next week. And then by that start of the legal tampering period, that's when the offers are going out fast and furious as teams try to fill up their seats with the available quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at teams like New England, for instance, because Washington, we're assuming, and I think appropriately so, they're going to fulfill their quarterback needs with their draft choice, right? You take a look at New England, you take a look at Atlanta, just for two teams in the top 10 there, right? You're looking at the Raiders. You do look at Tampa to see what they feel about re-signing Baker Mayfield or anything like that. The reason why I'm bringing it up is an interesting question is going to be which teams are willing to fulfill their quarterback need through the draft and which ones would prefer to do it through free agency, you know, and that's going to be the tricky question about reading tea leaves and how everything's going to come out in the wash. Mike.
And it may just be that rich teams take their shot in free agency, and if they're left without a quarterback, that creates an even greater urgency to go draft one. There are pros and cons to both approaches. You get a proven commodity in free agency, but it's going to be more expensive than what that slotted rookie contract will cost, even if it's the first overall pick. It's nothing compared to what it costs to go out and sign a really good player in free agency. So there's a lot of different ways teams can go. You know, on one hand, it's very good to have a lot of choices. The problem is at some point you got to choose one. And circumstances will get in the way. Other factors will complicate the situation. But ultimately, a lot of these teams are going to have multiple doors they can walk through, and they're going to have to pick one of them, and they're going to have to feel good about it. And they're going to be pinning the hopes of this season and maybe next season and maybe the season beyond that on this choice that they make.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.